Today's lesson is on histograms. Your learning target is I can display data in a histogram and I can describe that. That's actually going to be coming with the second lesson from here. So you can kind of read about the histogram. Please notice that the bars will always be touching because it does show a continuation. And we'll talk about the horizontal axis and the vertical axis in a moment. So basically, we're going to be looking for a title. On the y-axis part, that's going to be the number of whatever value you're looking at, the frequency that it happens. And along the side, that's going to be your range, and that's kind of your descriptor. Now you should notice that these bars go from 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and so on, but it actually doesn't go all the way to the maximum of that bar. That carries over to the next one, thus there is that continuation. So let us try to create our histograms from here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to locate what is our smallest and what is our largest. So we have to be able to get our smallest number into our bar graphs as well as our largest, and then everything in the middle will be graphed as well. After you do that, we got to figure out our intervals, and in this information it looks like I'll probably go up by tens. And then we should look at the window. Now the window will have our minimum, and that's going to be at or smaller than our actual smallest number. So it's going to start at 15 or maybe even lower, probably 10 in this case. Our next one, our maximum, will always be more than the maximum number, and it'll probably be at 120 if we go up by tens. The scale, well, depending on what your information is, how widespread it is, and everything else, we'll probably go up by fives or tens in most cases. Your Y minimum will start at 0. We don't know how high it'll go as far as information frequency-wise, so maybe 10, maybe more, maybe less, who knows. And our scale will usually go up by ones. So with that said, we're going to look at the second page here of our notes. Now you should be able to graph these without major problems, at least at this point. Now remember, you're going to go to Stat, and then you're going to Edit, and you're going to go up to L1. You're going to clear it out, and then you're going to enter in that information. Now you should see that I do have this information already entered in to save on time. Anyways, we're going to look at the stat plot. So I'm going to hit second in stat plot, and we're going to make sure that my screen will look like that. So I'm going to hit enter, and sure enough, it's on. The histogram is turned on. My X list, however, I'm going to change to L1. Chances are your calculator will already be ready for L1. So we're going to type in our window here. And typing in our window, we're going to look at it and going, okay, we need to make sure that my smallest number of 15 is going to be spoken for. Our largest number of 112 will be beyond that. We're going to go up by tens. We're going to start at 0 as far as frequency, and then we will have our maximum, perhaps as frequency of maximum of 10, maybe more, maybe less, who knows, and we're going to go up by ones. So all I have to do is hit graph. When I hit graph, I will look at the fact that I forgot to change the window and change my numbers to 10, 120, going up by tens. My Y minimum is 0, and we'll probably go up to 10. And then everything else looks the same. Hit graph, and that's a much better graphing. All right, and then I will look at tracing it, and this will help me label each one of my graphs, but I'm going to just make sure how high do I have to go. And it looks like my highest graph goes up to 10. So if I hit trace and then scroll left or right, it'll tell me how many are in that frequency and what that interval is. So let's go back to the very beginning. And my first one I'm going to put down here, and it's going to go 10 to 20. Now remember, we're going to need a title, we got a label, and we have to get all our information there. So with that said, we have our title, we have our labels, number of teams, and the team salary in millions, and then our brackets, our intervals, goes from 10 to 20, but not including 20, 20 to 30, but not including 30, 30 to 40, and so on. And then we'll go from left to right to figure out how high each one goes and how many there are in each one. So our graphs will look like so. And let's put a number at the top of the bar. that just is easier for the reader to see how high it goes without having to refer back. And then we did have to go over one more than what we had on our paper. All right, page 3, we're going to be looking at this information. It's an IQ test scores of 60 randomly chosen 5th grade students. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all that information into our calculator, and I already have it in L2. And then we are going to determine what is our smallest and our largest. Now, if you can't see it right away, you can always go to Stat, Calculate, and it's going to be single variables. And then in this case, since it's in my L2, I do have to have it for L2. And I'll scroll down, and sure enough, the calculator will already have the minimum and maximum for me. So my minimum and maximum is 81 and 145. So at that point, we have to decide what are we going to do as far as our window is concerned. So in doing so, we're going to look at 81 is my smallest. I'm going to start at 80, so it has to go smaller than my smallest and larger than my largest. So it will have those information as well as everything in between in it. I'm probably going to go up by 10s again. And then my Y frequency, it will be from 0 to 20, and then we'll go up by 1s, perhaps by 2s. So with that said, let us look at our window. Let's reprogram it for 80 for my X, 150 for my X maximum, going up by 10s, and my Y maximum in order to fit them in. And I've done it before. This is why I already have it at 20. I can hit graph, and there we go. If I hit trace, that'll tell me how high I have to go. So I'm going to scroll to the right, and 17, I have to be able to fit 17 in here, so I'll probably go up by 2s on this one. So I have a title, my labels, going up to 17, and down below I'll have my labels for IQ scores as well as what those scores are. Again, from 80 to 90, 90 to 100, not including the max score on each interval. And then I'll just graph it. So I'm going to start with hit and trace, and I got from 80 to 90, I go up to 3. And then I go scroll up, I go 90 to 100, I have 4, and so on. So 100 to 110, I have 14, and so on. When you do that, you have your graphs like so. And there you go.